I bet all of us enjoy eating rotisserie chicken. That golden skin, the soft pull of the meat, the aroma that fills the kitchen, it feels like comfort made visible. It's the kind of meal that reminds us of family tables and easy Sundays. But let's be honest, not everyone has the time or energy to roast a bird for hours. After all, it's not an easy dish to make, right? So we turn to the grocery store, where perfectly cooked chickens wait under warm lights, promising the same homemade charm at a fraction of the effort. Yet behind that promise lies a story most of us never hear of: salt-heavy injections, chemical brines, recycled meat, and holding cases that stay warm, but not always safe. What tastes like comfort can sometimes carry quiet risks. That leaves us with a question: how do we enjoy every bite of rotisserie chicken with joy? In this video, we'll show you 7 kinds to avoid, and 2 that are truly worth it. Stay till the end, and your next meal might taste even better. Number 1. Walmart Market Side. In June, Walmart recalled thousands of market-side chicken Alfredo meals after a deadly Listeria monocytogenes outbreak swept across several states. Investigators traced the contamination to Fresh Realm, the company that produced ready-to-eat chicken dishes for Walmart's deli line. What began as a simple factory check turned into a nationwide alarm with hospitalizations and deaths, reminding everyone that ready-to-eat doesn't always mean safe to eat. Listeria is not just another kitchen germ. It survives and multiplies even in cold storage and can cause severe infections in older adults, pregnant women, and those with weak immune systems. Symptoms start mild fever, stomach pain, but can progress to blood poisoning or meningitis. For some, a single contaminated meal can be fatal. That's why every lapse in handling matters, no matter how small. Walmart acted quickly, clearing shelves and issuing public alerts, but the damage was deeper than logistics. It shook the quiet belief that large retailers always get safety right. For years, the market side label promised fresh, made easy, bridging the gap between home-cooked comfort and supermarket speed. Now it symbolized something different: how the race for convenience can outrun control. Behind the headlines lies a system built to reuse what's left from the rotisserie counter, perfectly efficient on paper, risky in practice. Leftover cooked meat is chilled, processed, and folded into new meals like salads or pastas. Each step adds handling, travel, and exposure. When everything works, no one notices. But when one step fails, the warmth of yesterday's chicken can become tomorrow's outbreak. Federal agencies called this a preventable chain failure, yet nothing about it felt mechanical. It felt human, a reminder that behind every recall notice is someone's dinner, someone's trust, someone's routine disrupted. For many shoppers, especially retirees who rely on these meals for ease and affordability, it was unsettling to realize safety can vanish silently without any smell or sign. The broader lesson reaches beyond Walmart. It's about the modern illusion of freshness, how industrial kitchens stretch time and distance to deliver something that still looks handmade. Those bright labels and steam-filled trays feel reassuring, but reassurance is not a guarantee. So when you see a ready-to-eat chicken meal sitting under perfect light, remember what that recall taught us. Safety is not only about temperature or inspection, it's about transparency and pace. The faster a meal moves from one stage to another, the easier it is to lose sight of care. The recall is over, but its message remains: convenience without caution is a fragile comfort. Fresh doesn't mean safe once it leaves the heat. Costco Kirkland, signature rotisserie chicken. So what's the alternative for Walmart? For many shoppers, it must be Costco, the trusted giant, the symbol of consistency. Bigger stores, stricter rules, cleaner image. People assume that kind of power must come with better protection. Unfortunately, that's not the case. In some aspects, Costco's story is even harder to swallow. The trouble began quietly. In 2013, the U.S. Department of Agriculture ordered a recall of Costco rotisserie chickens from a California warehouse after dozens of people fell ill from Salmonella Heidelberg. The chickens came from Foster Farms, one of Costco's main suppliers. The company quickly pulled products, but the headlines marked a turning point. Even the most reliable brand could slip. 2 years later, in 2015, Costco faced another blow. This time, a batch of chicken salad made with the same rotisserie meat caused a multi-state E. coli O157H7 outbreak. 19 people were hospitalized. The source wasn't raw chicken, but fully cooked meat that had traveled through multiple hands before it reached customers, the same pattern, speed, volume, and thin margins for error. As the recalls faded from memory, Costco doubled down on control. The company built its own massive chicken complex in Nebraska, a sign of vertical integration and self-reliance. From hatch to rotisserie, the slogan suggested every step now belonged to them. To many customers, that sounded reassuring. Fewer middlemen meant fewer risks, but the reality was more complicated. In 2022, an animal welfare lawsuit revealed images of overcrowded barns and neglected birds at that very facility. The accusations were clear in pursuit of low prices, and high-yield conditions had crossed the line between efficient and inhumane. Costco defended its operations, claiming the images didn't reflect their standards. They emphasized biosecurity audits and veterinary care. Legally, they were likely in the clear. But for the public, the damage was emotional, not procedural. Consumers weren't angry about policy, they felt betrayed by pride. A company built on the promise of quality had somehow forgotten that quality begins long before the oven. And yet shoppers stayed. The price never changed. $4.99, the number that made Costco's chicken a legend. Lines at the rotisserie counter barely slowed, because in hard times, people choose value first and conscience later. For many families, that bird on a plastic tray wasn't a scandal. It was dinner. Years later, the story of Costco's chicken reads like a reflection of the food system itself, where good intentions wrestle with scale and transparency blurs in the heat of profit. The rotisserie keeps spinning, and so does the illusion of complete control. So what can we take from it? Maybe just this: trust the label less and the process more. Pay attention not to the promise, but to the pattern. When something feels too perfect for too long, it's worth asking what was traded to make it that way, because even giants can lose their way in pursuit of the perfect price. Number 3, Hy-Vee. How does a supermarket known for care let hot chicken slip below safe heat? The question isn't dramatic, just practical. Earlier this year, an Iowa inspection team stepped into a Hy-Vee deli and found its rotisserie case sitting at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. The rule is 135 or higher. 10 degrees doesn't sound like much, but in food safety, that's the space where bacteria start to wake up. The chicken looked fine. The skin glistened. The lamps glowed, the aroma hung in the air, but time and heat were quietly trading places. Was it a careless employee or a sign of something deeper? The logs told a familiar story, not neglect, just habit. The lunch rush builds. Timers blink, trays pile up, and someone forgets to recheck the gauge. A manager juggling 2 sections hesitates to discard food that still looks perfect. Nobody means harm, they just don't stop to think. Efficiency becomes its own comfort, and comfort sometimes breeds forgetfulness. Inspectors called it a minor violation. The product was discarded, staff reminded. Case closed. Yet what lingers is the pattern: small slips that multiply when the system rewards speed. Safety isn't only written in manuals, it's practiced minute by people already stretched thin. Behind every rule, there's a worker doing their best and a customer trusting them without question. One of the shoppers interviewed afterward, a retired teacher named Linda Shaw, summed it up quietly. "I buy that chicken every Friday. I don't have time to cook much anymore. You just assume it's handled right, you don't think to ask." Another man, sitting with his bag dinner on a bench outside the store, laughed with disbelief. "You mean it wasn't hot enough? It felt hot to me. Guess we all trust the lamp more than we should." His words weren't angry, just tired, like someone realizing how fragile that trust really is. For older customers, that realization hits deeper. Hot food feels like safety, like care. But the warmth we see isn't always proof of what happens behind the counter. It's a promise we hope others keep for us. And most of the time they do, until one quiet inspection shows how easily comfort can slip. So the next time you walk past that case of golden chickens, it's worth remembering the danger isn't hidden in a factory far away. It's right here in a few missing degrees in the thin margin between attention and assumption. If a few degrees can blur the line between safe and sorry, imagine what one missing line on a label might do next. Number 4, Kroger apple walnut with chicken salad bowl. I've read every label since my daughter had her first allergic reaction, a woman told a local reporter when the recall broke. But sometimes even reading isn't enough. In early 2024, Kroger recalled nearly 20,000 pounds of its apple walnut with chicken salad bowls after federal inspectors discovered undeclared wheat in the ingredient list. It wasn't the chicken this time. It wasn't bacteria or spoiled produce. It was a missing word, one that should have warned people with allergies to stay away. The mistake came from a packaging update by Taylor Farms Pacific, the supplier. 2 versions of the label existed, one old, one new. In the rush of production, a few pallets left the line with the wrong sheet attached. To anyone glancing quickly, everything looked fine: nutrition facts, calorie counts, glossy design. But the allergen list was incomplete. For a parent buying lunch on the go, it was just another salad. For someone allergic to wheat, it was a potential emergency. Allergen recalls rarely make headlines because they sound minor compared to outbreaks or contamination. Yet for the families affected, they carry a quieter fear. A single bite can cause hive swelling or worse, a sudden tightening of the chest, a race to find an epinephrine pen. And unlike bacterial illness, allergic reactions strike within minutes, leaving no time to second guess. Because food labeling isn't only a rule, it's a lifeline. It's the invisible bridge between the factory and the family table. Most of us trust it completely. We assume someone somewhere is checking every comma and ingredient before a product reaches the shelf. But packaging today moves fast. Recipes change. Printers misalign. Warehouses mix lots. Each step offers a chance for one word, wheat, soy, milk, nuts, to fall through the cracks. When news of the recall spread, customers reacted with calm frustration rather than outrage. A father from Ohio posted, "I'm not mad. I just don't understand how something so simple can still go wrong in 2024. Another shopper wrote, "It's not about blame. It's about remembering that food isn't data. People eat this." Those lines captured what many felt, not anger, but fatigue. The realization that even small errors can make big systems feel fragile. Kroger responded quickly, pulling the bowls, refunding purchases, and tightening label checks. The company handled the logistics well, but the moment revealed a deeper truth about trust. It doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes in small print. For older consumers, especially those who rely on prepared foods for convenience or dietary needs, every oversight chips away at the quiet faith that the basics are covered. There's no scandal here, no villain, just a missing word, and its echo, the reminder that behind every barcode sits a real person reading, hoping, trusting. One customer summed it up best: you forgive a mistake, you just wish the world slowed down enough to catch it first. One missing word on paper can be louder than any siren. Because sometimes what's left off the label matters just as much as what they add in. Number 5. Publix Garlic Rotisserie Chicken. It smells richer, tastes juicier, and yet it isn't quite real. Publix's garlic rotisserie chicken looks like the upgrade, same bird, more flavor, same price. To most shoppers, it feels like a fair trade, a little seasoning for a little comfort. But what gives that chicken its softness and shimmer isn't time or skill, it's chemistry. Added solution. Those two small words on the label mean the bird has been injected with a mix of water, salt, and phosphate compounds before cooking. The intent sounds harmless: keep it moist, make it tender. But that brine changes more than texture. It can nearly double sodium content and increase the bird's weight by as much as 15%. In other words, part of what you're buying isn't meat, it's liquid. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, any poultry enhanced this way must clearly state contains up to X% of solution. Publix's seasoned rotisserie line often lists 15%. That number may seem small, but for someone watching blood pressure or heart health, it matters. Food scientists note that sodium phosphates bind water molecules, helping the meat stay plump through long hours under heat lamps. It's a smart solution for the retailer: less shrinkage, longer shelf life, consistent look. For the body, it's another story. Dr. Jennifer McClements, a food chemist at the University of Florida, explains phosphates are legal but controversial. They hold water, not nutrition. You're preserving juiciness but also loading the product with sodium most people don't realize they're eating. Her words echo a growing divide between culinary quality and industrial consistency, between the cook's patience and the chemist's precision. None of this means Publix or any store is breaking rules. They're following the system as designed, a system where appearance and efficiency often outweigh simplicity. Enhanced rotisserie chickens survive longer under display lights, lose less moisture during transport, and yield more weight per unit. Every part of the equation makes sense on paper. The only missing piece is flavor soul, the quiet difference between real browning and engineered tenderness. Experts agree that this solution injection trend is spreading across supermarkets because it guarantees predictable results. In the language of retail, predictability means trust. But in the language of taste, it sometimes means sameness. Every bird ends up tasting faintly identical no matter where it came from or who seasoned it. And yet consumers rarely notice. The skin still crackles, the aroma still comforts, and the meat still pulls apart easily. It's good enough, maybe too good. That's the paradox of modern convenience chemistry. Now imitates what time and care once did. The difference hides not in flavor, but in feeling. It isn't that it tastes bad, it just tastes borrowed. Number 6. Sam's Club and Walmart value chickens. For years, shoppers have called it the last real bargain left in the grocery world. the $4.98 rotisserie chicken that never changed. Sam's Club's members Mark Bird and the Walmart value rotisserie chicken became weeknight heroes for millions of families. They smelled the same, looked the same, tasted warm and familiar. In a time when everything else went up, those golden chickens stayed steady. At first, it felt like a small act of kindness from the store as a thank you to loyal customers. People joked that it was the one thing inflation couldn't touch. But lately, the chicken itself tells a quieter truth. The skin still glows bronze under the lamps. The meat still pulls apart easily, but the bird is smaller now. The package feels lighter in the hand. The texture saltier. The flavor somehow flatter. The price didn't rise. The product simply shrank. Economists have a word for it: shrinkflation. You pay the same, but you get a little less. Retail analyst Amanda Liu explains rotisserie chicken is the grocery world's peace offering, cheap enough to keep loyalty, engineered enough to survive the math. The math she means is this: feed costs climb, wages rise, packaging costs more. Yet that 4.98 label never changes. Something else has to give weight, quality, or care. Industry reports show that since 2009, the average rotisserie bird at Sam's Club and Walmart has dropped from about 3 pounds to 2.5. Sodium has quietly crept up by about 20% to keep moisture and flavor longer. It's not dangerous, just different, a slow compromise dressed in the same smell of comfort. In stores across the country, shoppers have started noticing. It used to feed us twice, said a single mother from Texas. Now it's gone after one meal. Another shopper, an older man in Florida, looked down at the warm tray in his cart and said, half smiling, "It still smells right. I just wish it lasted like it used to." Those small remarks aren't outrage. They're the sound of fatigue. People who work hard, budget carefully, and still reach for that same chicken each week because it's tradition or because it's the closest thing left to convenience without guilt. They don't expect perfection, only fairness. Stand near the deli counter at dinner time, and the air still feels rich with roasted garlic and sweet fat. Trays rotate slowly under golden light. You can hear the quiet hiss as new birds slide in from the kitchen, hear the thump as a worker closes the glass door. For a few minutes, it almost feels like nothing has changed. But if you watch long enough, you'll see small things: thinner legs, less breast meat, more glaze. You'll hear one woman whisper to another, "It's smaller, right?" And both will nod, pretending it's fine. The illusion of abundance still works until you look closer. A young boy tugs his mother's sleeve near the end of the aisle, pointing at the Walmart value rotisserie chicken he loves. She lifts the warm pack, its lid clouded with steam. It smells like Sunday. She holds it for a moment, reading the fine print, then sighs, not out of anger but quiet recognition. She sets it back down and takes her son's hand. Some prices stay the same only because someone else is quietly paying the difference. And tonight it isn't the store, it's her. Number 7. BrucePac. By now, most shoppers have seen one of those recall alerts, the kind that scrolls under the evening news while dinner's already on the table. A few seconds of warning, a few quiet gasps, and life moves on. But this time, the name behind it wasn't a supermarket. It was BrucePac, a quiet Oregon processor that cooks chicken for half the country: Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, and dozens of regional chains that never print its name on the label. More than 12 million pounds of ready-to-eat poultry were recalled. Some batches were frozen, some vacuum-sealed, some already sliced and served under different store brands. Different names, same origin. Different shelves, same factory line. It wasn't the first time and probably won't be the last. The truth is, we've grown used to this. The warnings come and go like passing storms. A father in Iowa shrugged. "You just stop being surprised. It's always somebody's chicken." A grandmother in Florida said, "I still buy it, just pray it's fine this week." That's not ignorance, it's exhaustion. A quiet collective acceptance that somewhere between production speed and profit margin, we've all become part of a system too big to understand and too constant to stop. I've thought about that a lot. I like rotisserie chicken, always have. The smell feels like comfort, like home at 6 p.m. when you're too tired to cook. But after reading this recall, the taste changed for me. Not the seasoning, not the salt, something invisible. A thought. Have I eaten something harmful without even knowing it? I didn't panic. I just felt small. Because that's what it means to live inside this circle, one that spins faster every year, feeding millions, forgetting faces. BrucePac isn't a villain. It's just a mirror of how food now moves, centralized, fast, and visible. Chickens are cooked, sealed, shipped, and relabeled until no one remembers where they began. A single shift mistake, a temperature missed, a test skipped, can ripple across the country. And we won't know until it's too late, until the barcode blinks red or a recall notice appears online. Still, the aisles stay full, the ovens keep turning, and the smell keeps working. That scent of warmth and safety, it hides the machinery underneath. Because when everything depends on motion, nobody can afford to stop and check. We tell ourselves the system works because it has to. We buy, we eat, we move on. That's the quiet deal. Maybe that's the real danger, not contamination itself, but how numb we've become to it. How we keep orbiting around the same shelves, the same habits, trusting that speed will save us when it's the very thing that puts us at risk. The world doesn't stop spinning for one recall, but maybe for a moment we should. After all that, it's easy to feel uneasy, like the simple act of picking dinner has become a gamble. But not every rotisserie chicken is born in the same rush. Some still come from places that slow down, that marinate instead of inject, that roast instead of reheat. They may cost a little more, but what they give back is time, real flavor, real care, and a little peace of mind. So before we close the aisle, let's turn to the ones still doing it right, the few brands proving that trust can still taste honest. Number 8. Smart Chicken. The smell hits first warm, buttery, faintly sweet, the kind of scent that makes you stop mid-aisle. The label says Smart Chicken, and for once the name feels earned. It looks simple, golden skin, steady color, clean packaging, no slogan screaming healthy or farm fresh. Just a quiet promise in the name itself. When I pick up that bird, it feels lighter, not in weight, but in the sense that nothing is being hidden. The skin crackles softly under the paper, the juices settle clear, and the ingredient list reads like something your grandmother might still recognize. Humanely raised, air-chilled, no antibiotics ever, nothing fancy, just careful. Smart Chicken isn't a new brand, but it's one that decided early on to slow down instead of scale up. While most of the industry moved toward massive shared suppliers, they built smaller plants closer to farms with air chilling instead of water baths. That change alone means less contamination, less added weight, and more real flavor. It's not marketing, it's process. You can taste it in the crispness of the skin and the clean finish that doesn't feel brined or artificial. A shopper beside me once said, "I don't just eat it, I feel good about eating it." Her words stayed with me. Because food, especially something as ordinary as rotisserie chicken, shouldn't feel like a risk. It should feel like nourishment, not just for the body, but for the conscience. Still, it's not perfect. Smart Chicken isn't cheap. The rotisserie version can cost almost twice as much as the chain store bird. For some, that price means it's an occasional treat, not a weekly habit. But maybe that's part of the lesson. Maybe we weren't meant to eat convenience every day. Maybe slowing down, cooking less but better is how we find balance again. That's the turn this story takes. Because choosing a safer, simpler chicken isn't about guilt or prestige. It's about the quiet relief of knowing where your food comes from and who took the time to make it right. When I unwrap the warm paper at home, the smell fills the kitchen. The meat pulls clean from the bone, not soggy, not dry, just honest. For a few minutes, dinner feels uncomplicated again. No headlines, no fine print, no wondering which factory line it came from. Just a meal that reminds me why we trusted food in the first place. It doesn't change the world, but one peaceful dinner, one bite without worry that changes how tomorrow feels. Number 9, Sprouts Farmers Market. Sprouts Farmers Market never tried to be fancy, and maybe that's exactly why its rotisserie chicken still feels honest. No bright label, no screaming slogans, no shiny marketing claims. Just a steady golden bird sitting quietly under warm light, waiting for someone who still values food that tastes like food. Its story begins far from the noise of industrial kitchens. Sprout sources its rotisserie birds from smaller regional farms, air-chilled, never soaked in solution, and raised without antibiotics. It's a slower, more traditional process. The air-chill method lets the chicken keep its natural flavor, not the metallic tang of brine. When you unwrap one, the skin doesn't glisten with oil. It looks and smells like something that could have come from your own oven, crisp, faintly smoky, a little imperfect in color, which makes it real. The price tells part of the truth, around $7.99. Not the $4.98 deal of Walmart or Sam's Club, not the bulk discount of Costco. It's a fair price for a bird roasted that day, sold with no preservatives and no false shelf life. Sprouts doesn't make money on scale. It makes it on consistency. Their policy is simple: what's cooked this afternoon should be sold tonight. That short timeline means fewer shortcuts, fewer compromises. And somehow that steady rhythm has become their strength. While many grocers battle for loyalty through discounts and online gimmicks, Sprouts quietly grew a base of shoppers who return for one thing: freshness that feels human. It's not cheap, one customer told a local paper, but I'd rather pay $8 for something that smells like care. That line sums it up better than any corporate slogan could. Sprouts rotisserie chicken isn't a product of marketing genius. It's the result of patience. The company's executives once said they'd rather sell a smaller number of high-quality prepared foods than flood shelves with generic versions. In 2024, that decision paid off. Sales of their fresh prepared items rose by double digits, led by their chicken program. In a market where faster usually wins, Sprouts proved that slowing down still works. But even good food lives in a complicated world. The packaging is still plastic. The farms, though smaller, still operate within the larger U.S. supply chain. No one here is pretending perfection. Sprouts isn't a farmer's market in the literal sense. It's a business trying to survive between giant retailers and boutique organics. The difference is, they're still trying to show that better can exist inside the system, even if it's not pure. That's the nuance people often miss. It's easy to glorify smallness or purity, but the truth is, balance is the real victory. A rotisserie chicken that's made fresh, fairly priced, and locally sourced may not change the food industry, but it changes how dinner feels at the end of a long day. When you bring one home from Sprouts, the car fills with that quiet, homey smell, salt-roasted skin, and something warm beneath it all in tension. You slice through the thigh, hear the soft crack of skin, and realize this isn't luxury, it's decency. Maybe the goal was never perfection. Maybe it was just to make dinner feel like someone still cared. From the first bite to the last story, this journey through America's rotisserie aisles has been more than a tour of flavor. It's been a mirror. We've seen shortcuts, recalls, and compromises, but we've also found patience, integrity, and the quiet art of doing things right. Rotisserie chicken used to mean comfort. Somewhere along the way, it became a business model. Yet inside that same system, a few still slow down cooking for care, not just for profit. They remind us that good food doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stay real. So the next time you walk past that warm glow in the deli aisle, pause, read the label, ask where it came from. You don't have to be perfect, just aware, because every better choice, no matter how small, keeps the kitchen of trust alive. Dinner, after all, was never just about eating. It was always about believing that what we share still matters.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage integration. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today analyzes made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.